Hello, everybody, and welcome to the David Pakman Show. I'm producer Pat Ford, filling in for David today as he is spending some time today on the studio redesign. You may know by now that we're coming out with a new studio for you guys in the next few, weeks, months, something like that. And the panels are going right in the trash. No more panels. We're going to be doing something new, so he's working on that today. He'll be back with us tomorrow. I wanted to start things off today by talking about this big story we heard over the long holiday weekend here in the United States, and that is that Kanye West was seen with Nick Fuentes at an airport together, and it was confirmed that they were going to visit Donald Trump, the failed former president, at Mar-a-Lago. Now, this is a big deal, of course, because Nick Fuentes is a flat-out racist, anti-Semitic person, political commentator. He's so far to the right that even other people on the right denounce him because, he's just full mask off, right? He's a Holocaust denier. He wants Trump to be made dictator, like all the worst things that you can get on the right. Kanye West, of course, is the famous rapper who decided to throw his career away earlier this month and become a social pariah, also that he could publicly say these anti-Semitic things and claim that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. So Trump thought that it would be a good idea to have dinner with these two people. And as you may imagine, the Trump 2024 presidential campaign team is going absolutely ballistic over this. They're in full-on damage control mode because this is just not the right way to start off your campaign, dining with a couple of out-and-out anti-Semites. So Trump put out a statement about all this on Truth Social, and this is how it all got organized according to him. He said, quote, "This past week, Kanye West called me to have dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Shortly thereafter, he unexpectedly showed up with 3 of his friends whom I knew nothing about. We had dinner on Tuesday evening with many members present on the back patio. The dinner was quick and uneventful. They then left for the airport." So Trump here being very much dismissive of the 3 people that Kanye brought with him to the dinner. He's trying to say, oh, well, I can't be guilty by association because I didn't even know these people. But really, just having Kanye over alone is enough to make you worthy of public scrutiny. It's a sign that you've gone too far because he's just said some horrible things over the past few weeks that have rightfully got him canceled. All these things about he's going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people and all these anti-Semitic tropes that he repeats and repeats. And it's not like one of those things where you have a celebrity who says something dumb and then they apologize for it the next day. They say, oh, I was drunk when I wrote that. That's not how I really feel, and I'm going to make every effort to make amends. No, Kanye has just said horrible things and continued saying horrible things. He keeps doubling down on these shows and on Twitter and all these different stuff. So having Kanye over at this point, it's just completely toxic. You used to be able to trot him around in these right-wing circles, like Candace Owens would go around the country with him, and there was talk about how he's a Trump supporter, and he'd go on Tucker Carlson's show and all these different things. You really can't be associated with him anymore, even if you're on the right. So this excuse that Trump gives that, oh, I only knew Kanye, I didn't know the other visitors, Kanye is enough to make you look bad. There's also a great amount of dispute over whether Trump actually didn't know the other 3 guests that Kanye brought with him, since Karen Giorno was one of them, and she was Trump's campaign director in the state of Florida in 2016. He apparently knows her by name and sight, so if he lied about that, what else could he be lying about? I get the sense that he probably knew who Nick Fuentes was, even though he declares that he didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. Maybe he knew that Fuentes isn't the type of person you don't want to admit to knowing, but I do get the sense that Trump probably knew who he was. Fuentes was there, by the way, because he was advising Kanye West in Ye's 2024 presidential campaign, which we found out about last week, that's a thing, that Kanye is giving another shot at becoming president, and he has people like Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos working for him. As for the dinner, Trump had planned to dine privately with Kanye at Mar-a-Lago's library, but then they decided that they should all eat outside on the public patio. No word yet as to what they had for dinner. I don't know about the appetizer and entree selection, but who knows? Maybe we'll get some more updates on that. But as to what they talked about at the dinner, Kanye actually had the gall to ask Trump to be his running mate during this whole exchange. So Kanye invited himself over effectively to Trump's house. At least that's the theory that we have. That's the story we're being told on this. And he decided to tell Trump, who he knows is running for president himself, that he, Kanye West, is also running for president and may take some share of the Trump vote. And then on top of that, Kanye wants Trump to bend the knee to him at his own house and become his vice president. Like, how crazy is that? Kanye just full of arrogance here, not understanding that Trump is the alpha dog currently in Republican politics, and he's not just going to back Kanye for no reason and become his VP. Just absolutely insane. You cannot make this stuff up, folks. And we actually have Kanye talking about his encounter with Trump. Let's cut to that now and listen to some of the other things that Kanye says went down at that dinner.
I think the thing that Trump was most perturbed about, me asking him to be my vice president, I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. Then he goes on to say that Kim is a you could tell her I said that. And I was thinking, like, that's the mother of my children. Since we know, and all the Christians in America that love Trump know that Trump is a conservative, we're going to demand that you hold all policies directly to the Bible. When Trump started basically screaming at me at the table, telling me I was going to lose, I mean, has that ever worked for anyone in history?
You're going to lose. Tell him he's going to lose.
I'm like, well, hold on, Trump. You're talking to Ye.
So there's that trademark arrogance on display with Kanye West. He thinks he can just show up to Trump's residence at Mar-a-Lago and ask him to be his VP and that Trump wouldn't get mad or anything like that. Of course, Trump got mad because he has this giant ego, and both of these people have crazy egos. Like, if you put them in a room together, some wacky situation is going to stir up. And in this case, it was not a room, but a back patio. But nonetheless, some crazy things resulted from it. Also pretty wild, if we're to believe Kanye, that Trump would attack Kim Kardashian for no apparent reason, no relevant reason anyway. And we also learned from this campaign ad we just watched that Kanye West wants to make America a theocratic nation, to be a Christian nation, and it's just added layers of what's a crazy story that we don't even have time to get into today. The fact that Trump apparently attacked Kim Kardashian, and the fact that Kanye wants to make the U.S. a nationalist country, or a Christian nationalist country, rather. So Trump is full on in damage control because his campaign must have gotten to him and said, you know, you really should not have had these people over. So he took to Truth Social yesterday to respond to some of the backlash about Kanye. And he couldn't even really do that properly because he brought up Kanye's race for no apparent reason. He said this, quote, "So I help a seriously troubled man who just happens to be black, yay, Kanye West, who has been decimated in his business and virtually everything else, and who has always been good to me by allowing his request for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago alone so that I can give him very much needed advice." So Trump effectively here saying that he doesn't care that Kanye has said these horrible anti-Semitic things because he's been nice to Trump, and that's all that matters in Trump's world. Now, the other key takeaway from the dinner is that Trump was reportedly very much impressed with Nick Fuentes. He said something like, "He really gets me," and he seemed very much taken by Fuentes, who was able to rattle off statistics and recall speeches, quotes from Trump's speeches going back to his 2016 presidential campaign. At one point, Trump asked Fuentes what he thought about his presidential announcement speech that he gave a couple of weeks ago, and Fuentes said that he should rely less on the teleprompter and he needed to be higher energy, which actually was true. Trump was very much low energy in that announcement speech. Fuentes also told Trump that he's going to crush the competition in the 2024 election, DeSantis included, which, as you might imagine, Trump liked very much. But it all just adds a very strange layer of complexity to this because Fuentes is supposedly there because he's advising Kanye West for Kanye's presidential campaign. So why is he giving Trump pointers and telling him he's going to crush the competition and all these different things? Like, this is just a complete gong show here. Trump also asked if Fuentes was on Truth Social, which he said Nick said that he is on Truth Social, and a bunch of other social media sites had kicked him off for being too, quote, fringe. So that, all in all, was the dinner. There's still the question over how much the Trump campaign is going to be affected by this. Like, will Republicans even care about this sort of thing? Because, like, Trump will routinely make these unforced errors, do stuff like this where he shoots himself in the foot, and he'll just be able to get beyond it. Like, people forget about it after a few weeks or so. Every time we wonder, us on the left, like, will this time be different? Will this be one of the things where Trump went too far and even Republicans turn on him? But it never happens. It at least hasn't happened for the past 6 years. And there's been some crazy things going on in that 6 years, like coup attempts and these types of things. Will this be any different? My initial sense is no. But on the other hand, if there's a case to be made for this actually torpedoing Trump's early chances here of at least, just drowning out the competition and having an easy road to the nomination, it's that he's already a wounded antelope. Like, he had a disastrous midterm performance. So many of his candidates lost in their midterm bids. The Murdochs aren't supporting him anymore, so he's not getting favorable coverage on places like Fox News. He has Ron DeSantis surging behind him in the polls and in the betting markets. Some polls and betting odds even have DeSantis up. And there's just not a lot of energy behind Trump's 2024 campaign. So there's the potential that in an environment like this, where Trump is already doing so poorly and has so many different things working against him, maybe this is the type of thing that can get a lot of attention and diminish his hopes of being able to make a lock on this thing, like to just completely secure the nomination for himself. Any other politician, this would probably torpedo their chances, but we've seen Trump get beyond these types of things before, and ultimately he'll probably be able to do it again. All right, we're going to go to a break now. We'll be back with much more of the David Pakman Show right after this.
You already know that you need a VPN to protect your privacy from your internet provider, from tech platforms, from hackers, and you've seen a ton of ads for different VPNs. They seem similar. Which one do you choose? There's really one thing I look at. Can it be independently verified that the VPN isn't logging your activity? That's why when we were looking for a VPN sponsor, we reached out to Private Internet Access, because Private Internet Access is the only VPN with a no-log policy that has been proven in court not once but multiple times. Their VPN is 100% open source. The code is public. Their server networks and management systems are independently audited by Deloitte to verify there is no logging. With their new next-gen server setup, it's also one of the only VPNs fast enough for streaming and other activities. My audience gets Private Internet Access for 82% off. That's just $2.11 a month, plus 3 months free. Go to piavpn.com/Pakman. The link is down below.